Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're going to be reviewing What If. This is Marvel Studios' first animated series. I do not know if this is actually technically part of the MCU as a whole in the continuity of things and if it's canon or not. So yeah, I actually might need to look into that. But yeah, I actually completely missed this review. I did watch every single episode as soon as they came out, but just sort of forgot about the review of this series. And maybe that sort of sums up the series for you as a whole, from my opinion. I think this series is at times a lot of fun, but yeah, this is definitely going to be a shorter review because I really don't have that much to say about it. I think it's completely harmless. I think I had more fun than I did not enjoying the show. But yeah, right, let's get into why this show worked and didn't work for me. So first off, I just want to touch on the animation. Now, the animation is great. It took me a while to get used to it, but after a while, I realized that it was really quite a unique animation style. There's just one problem with the animation, in my opinion. It doesn't really capture the essence of the characters' looks, and I'm not sure it's because, it could be just because that it's multiverse versions of these characters. It's supposed to be different universes, so it could be that, but I don't think they've looked into it that much for where it's clear that they're trying to look like the actors that we know that play them in live action sometimes, and it just doesn't look that great. For example, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, it just looks a little off, and that could just be me. There are characters like T'Challa where I think that is the spitting image of Chadwick Boseman, where they do it really well, but just sometimes it looks a bit off. But overall, the animation style is insanely unique. This is so unique, especially in action scenes. And another way I believe the art style elevates this show is in the pre-finale, there's a specific word for it, but the episode before the final episode, and yeah, there's just that whole thing with Ultron. If he won and if he got these Infinity Stones, what would have happened? It's just that they use the art style quite well and use it very creatively for these action set pieces, and especially involving the Infinity Stones, which was really cool. Now, the thing that sort of didn't help this is the fact that they betrayed their own idea. Now, if you don't get what I mean, let me use something else as an example. When Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out back in 2017, the whole part of the campaign that they promoted it as you're part of the Empire. This is you as the bad guys. That was always in the trailers. Every promotional material, that is how they portrayed the campaign to be. And it really was a betrayal of what they promised. It's a false promise that they gave us, because you literally get to play, I think it is 3 missions as the Empire in that game at the start. And after that, you just immediately turn to the good side, and it's just a boring, standard, whatever campaign from there. So that's relating to this. Now, they made this set out to be individual stories that just were their own little thing, own little creative idea from the team at Marvel, and just alternate things that could have happened throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I thought was a great concept for the show, because that way you're not going into it expecting more than that. And I think the finale episode where the Watcher grabs all these characters from all these different stories, some great stories and some not so much, really gives a very repetitive, cliche Marvelness feel to it, where I thought this was supposed to be something different, that's why I was looking forward to it. And when you think about it, it's literally just the same thing again, where we get all these separate stories like Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then they all just get united at the end in this massive one versus all these characters. And they do there's so many plot devices and just things that make it just, the power balance is just completely messed up. If you've seen some of the things that Ultron was doing in Season 1, Episode 8, which, by the way, is my favourite, if not second favourite episode. That episode is almost like a 10 out of 10. It's insane. But if you've seen the power level Ultron was at in that episode, where he's literally eating galaxies. That I'm not just overreacting and just saying that. You see it happen. You see him bite a galaxy, and he's literally kicked the Watcher out of his own home and just gone, yeah, I'm the ultimate being in the universe now. And he's struggling to defeat Captain Carter in the finale after this. Bear in mind, still got all the stones. He was tossing around with the Soul Stone at one point, but he did have all the stones at first. And they use so many, there's a specific word for it, but MacGuffin. They use so many MacGuffins where, Doctor Strange, this now new Doctor Strange, which by the way, we'll get into his episode just in a second. But this new Doctor Strange can give you the most powerful protection spell of all time, apparently, because this thing's unbreakable. And it's just, that last episode really betrayed the show as a whole, in my opinion, especially the previous episode. So yeah, negatives out the way, I'll just give one more. That Thor episode was unbearable, for me at least. Everything that they sort of course corrected with the character of Thor from, his first film and second film being two of the weaker ones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And just the way his character was dealt and the route they took with him from phase 1 up until Age of Ultron. And that clearly wasn't working the best. It wasn't bad. People still like Thor. But it's clear that Taika Waititi redefined that character to a fan favourite, if not like one of the best in the MCU. And I'm not exaggerating. They played into the fact that they realised Chris Hemsworth is a very charismatic, funny guy, and they just sort of played into that, and that's the route they took with Thor. So going back to this cringy type funny Thor, where to me the humour was cringy, that's just my opinion. Maybe you guys in the comments below tell me if you agree or not, because this could just be me. This could be a minority opinion. But yeah, I didn't find the humour in that episode funny at all. And it was a massive step backwards for the character of Thor, in my opinion. But yeah, putting that aside, let's get in to the Doctor Strange episode. I believe it's episode 4, I think. That was an absolute masterpiece. I love that episode. Because that episode, and it's not just because, it ended sadly, so, it's so unique. I'm not saying that, because that's been done now. That's it. The Infinity War is a prime example of that. That was not the reason Infinity War is loved so much. There's so many other reasons, and that film was handled so well. But that was one of them, and it was the fact that we see our hero lose, and our heroes lose. And in this case, we see Strange lose, but it's told in such a beautiful, demoralizing way, where you just see the gradual corruption of this character. A bit like Anakin Skywalker, where all he wants to do is prevent his loved one from dying. And he does everything in his power. Eventually, it's actually very similar to Anakin, because he eventually turns to these dark rituals and these dark teachings to try and find all this power. And in conclusion of that, losing himself and his morals, and literally trading his morals for just these dark powers. Because at the end of the day, Doctor Strange, before he learned all of this from the Ancient One, he was still just this arrogant guy, just looking to fulfill himself with more power. And as we know, that's not the way of a good person. So yeah, I just thought the storytelling in that episode was great, and the conclusion was just heartbreaking. And I just think overall that was the most consistently well story told episode that they gave us. So yeah, I really hoped for more of that. If it was literal individual stories that were more of that left the same impact on me, this show would be insane. Just a 10 out of 10 almost, maybe a 9, because obviously it's not perfect. But yeah, if there was more of that, I think I would have loved this show a lot more. The rest are fine. They're pretty average. There's little things that in the moment you probably think the show is better than it actually is. I think I experienced that, because I remember in the T'Challa episode, the second one, Thanos showed up and I was like, oh my god, they've got Josh Brolin and Thanos is like good now. And it's really, when you look at it afterwards, it's like, yeah, but what did they do with it? And they didn't do anything really. It was just sort of there. And yeah, it didn't use it as well and greatly as it could have been used, which that's just my opinion. So yeah, I by no means hate the show. I think this is a good show, not just slightly over average. I think there are definite episodes that hold this up, specifically episodes 8 and 4. But yeah, there are a few others that I really enjoyed as well. I liked the opening episode with Captain Carter. I thought that was all right. That was decent. And yeah, there are definite ones in there that I like. But yeah, I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10. I thought it was fine. It was good. I was expecting a little more, considering they didn't have any boundaries and they could have just told whatever sort of individual stories that they want. And I just think they dropped a ball with a few of them. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe I'm just a minority opinion. So yeah, that's at the end of the day, that's what this is. It's just my opinion. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.